NBC 13 photojournalist John Thompson talked to one of the hot air enthusiasts and gives us a preview from high in the sky.
Everybody stand back.
Second rule is?
This is a hobby, strictly a hobby. This is hot air ballooning is strictly a hobby with us. This is just our little toy that we have for our grandkids and us, and go around playing. This is a special shape which they call off the wall, upside down Humpty Dumpty. Ladies and gentlemen, there's off the wall. What I'm doing is heating it up slowly so we can start lifting off. Okay. This is it. You can look at the whole surroundings, see the whole scenery, the countrysides, a lot of wild game, and it's just so peaceful, so quiet, so enjoyable. Try to do a nice soft landing, standing up, right in that grass. Okay, watch yourself. We're going to come in on the grass. It's never had a great fall at this point. Humpty Dumpty is just floating off the wall. He hasn't hit yet.
Are you superstitious? I'm not. I don't worry about bad things happening, knock on wood. But imagine if that superstition, or superstition in general, was a part of your everyday identity. NBC 13 photojournalist John Thompson introduces you to a man who lives that eerie experience every day.
My name's Curtis Williams. I live at 1313 13th Way in Pleasant Grove, Alabama. Everybody talks about the 13 being an unlucky number. Great. And then it's 1313 13th Way. I've never really thought about the bad luck aspect of it because I'm not really superstitious, but my wife thinks about it. When strange things happen, I just kind of blow them off and try not to think about it, because if I did, then it would probably bother me more. I wonder if that was because of the address. We can't keep any plants living here for some reason. It doesn't take much to see what's going on over here. All of my shrubs are missing because I had to dig them up because of my little mole friend that's in the yard out here. I had shrubs up to here, at least this high, on both sides of the house, and one by one they died out. I used to be pretty good at it. I can't shoot pool half as good as I used to. Now, I can't explain that, probably because I don't shoot as much, but the people, all the guys I used to shoot pool with, I always want to have a pool table in the house, you know, my brothers and cousins, and they come over. Now they don't. They don't come over now. Now that I've got a pool table set up in the basement, and I'm thinking, that can't be because of the address. Nothing seems to stay in the pockets around here now. Now that I've put the pool table up in this particular house. I think the pool table's haunted or something. That ball was going straight in.
Well, Mike, they broadcast for months without a license, played lyrics with plenty of profanity, and even dodged an FCC investigation. So whatever happened to Birmingham's pirate radio station? We started tracking them.
They use voice disguising equipment.
Club 90.7. It's a good radio Raheem. Broadcasting from the back of this thing. Too close for TV, man.
Play profanity in the middle of the afternoon.
I ain't gotta do this rap. That's all I'm trying to say. Out there trying to hold a you can't stop a real that.
And have avoided the Federal Communications Commission for months.
Hey man, we do it because we can.
Since September, Birmingham radio pirates have broadcast at 90.7 FM. No call letters, no FCC license. But despite a complaint from a licensed Birmingham station and an unsuccessful attempt by FCC investigators to find them, their underground disc jockeys continued.
Mic check 1 2.
Then a couple of weeks ago, we found out about them and decided to find them ourselves. But how do you track down a radio station without an address and only its frequency to go by? You recruit some veteran ham radio operators with a fully loaded SUV of which James Bond would be proud. It's equipped with 2 antennas, one mounted on top and a fancy handheld version. Plus, it features a handful of other high-tech tuning devices. But the key to our search is this display.
Yeah, that bar on the bottom.
Not only will it show us the signal strength using that horizontal meter, it can magnify the sensitivity of the SUV's receiver to help pinpoint the signal source. Now we were ready to track Birmingham's pirate radio station. We spent about an hour tracing the signal all over Birmingham, from Southside, where it was weakest,
This is much lower.
to this row of houses on 6th Avenue South in Titusville, where it was the strongest.
Still wide open.
Now we were close. To make sure, we amplify the tuner sensitivity by 5. And when we drove by the houses again,
And then boom, look at that.
we knew we were right on top of it. So we drove down the alley behind the homes in question.
It's like it's in that damn tree right there. What's that cable right there?
Where?
Right there. That black.
So call it coax.
Is that
Drive
piece
on,
of
drive
coax?
on, drive on. Come back. Drive on. Yes, it's coax. He's up the tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And antenna's in that tree.
Yes.
We circled the block and came back for a closer look. The antenna was tied to a tree 30 feet up, so we followed its cable down the tree, along the fence, through the backyard, to this hole drilled into the home's vinyl siding.
No question about it.
Now it was time for us to pay the radio pirates a visit.
Anybody home? We're Channel 13. We know there's a pirate radio station operating inside this house.
After several knocks on the front door went unanswered, we tried the back door.
Anybody home? This is John Papke from NBC 13. Is there anybody home?
That's when somebody came to the window and quickly vanished. Moments later, the radio station's music went silent. And exactly 2 minutes after that, the signal died altogether. No one ever answered the door, so to try and get some answers, we called the station's request line. A man answered the call, Club 90.7.
You guys cut off your signal?
He responded, "What signal?"
The 90.7, it's an illegal radio station. There's no license for that frequency.
He replied, "What are you talking about?"
90.7. You answered the phone 90.7.
Then he said, "I still don't know what you're talking about, dude. You got the wrong number."
You answered the phone 90.7.
He hung up. So who was behind the unlicensed operation? NBC 13 learned a Branthany Middleton lived in the house. Middleton worked security for a local recording studio called Real Records. This is his picture on the studio's website. The same website shows Middleton and others protesting 95.7 jams. Their agenda? Jam's general manager David Dubose thinks he knows.
They want us to play artists from their particular label here in Birmingham. The problem is that they don't have a hit.
So jams won't play their music. And Dubose feels the record studio is somehow connected to the pirate radio station. Listen to these recent remarks on the unlicensed frequency.
95.7. Everybody, go tell a friend. Somebody hear me who know Chris and go tell him. 95.7.
So we called Branthany Middleton at the recording studio. He admits to living at the house where we found the pirate radio station, but denies knowing anything about its existence. And he claims the same goes for everyone else at Real Records.
Either way, the station is now off the air. In fact, only days after our visit, the antenna was no longer in the tree, but laying on the ground next to the house.
I'm hopeful that perhaps your actions will result in the FCC now taking a much more aggressive stance in actually coming back into the market and shutting them down once and for all.
You said one all the way, any way they want them. I just so they get them. I don't care how.
8 feet wide and 40 feet deep, Pete's Famous Hot Dogs is more than a place to eat. It's a time machine. Gus Koutrelakis has been behind this counter for 50 years, taking over for his Uncle Pete. But it's the dogs that bring the crowds back.
When it's full and there's not any room in there, people are backed out on the sidewalk. Gus will tell them, come on in, there's plenty of room back in the dining room. I've heard that ever since I've been coming here, but I hadn't seen the dining room yet.
Some people, they don't even eat them, they just swallow them. By the time I said, damn, you done already ate that one? He said, yeah.
Over the years, Gus had thought about expanding, something other than his customers' waistlines.
Thought about opening up another one a couple of times, but that was when my brother-in-law he decided to become a doctor. He's a neurosurgeon. He just eats hot dogs now. Come in, Lightning.
Thousands of faces keep coming back every day for years.
Good hot dog, good hot dogs and good hot sauce.
You said 2 of them lightning?
Even if Gus doesn't know their names.
Casey at the bat. Okay.
You've been going for lightning for 10 years now.
Casey at the bat.
Casey.
Yeah, I never knew his name. Only Pete's Famous.
As his regulars move away, some call back from time to time to get a shipment of Pete's Famous. The answer is always the same.
Ship them to you over the counter and you can take them up where you want to go.
And Gus keeps on going himself.
He hadn't got anything else to do. He doesn't play golf.
Although he's been at it for more than 50 years, Pete's Famous hot dogs probably won't outlast Gus. You see, it's been grandfathered by the health department. With its small size and antiquated equipment, it probably won't be around when he finally hangs up the apron. But in the meantime, Operation New Birmingham is honoring Gus for his 50 years of service with a sign by his frequent customers and how long they've been fans. From Birmingham, Ike Piggott, ABC 3340.
I know there's something going on around here. Each manager for 71 years has told the next manager about the ghost story.
She's known for her majesty, her music, and memories from the silver screen. But Cecil Whitmire knows the Alabama Theater for something else.
Well, when I was first brought into this theater, the manager told me, as if it were a fact, that there was a ghost in this theater.
Playing the mighty Wurlitzer organ, it's Whitmire's music that seems to possess this movie palace. But in the highest balcony seats, where the music seems to echo, ask Tracy Carr what she saw besides the show.
The seat over here just creeped down like someone was sitting in it. It was a little scary. It makes me a pretty big believer.
A believer in that haunting tale that started with a true life tragedy, when a man fell from this ceiling 70 feet to his death on the theater floor. They say he's still here, claiming the Alabama Theater as a sanctuary, his mysterious haven in the afterlife.
At times it can get a little spooky.
Inside a damp, dark tunnel, miles from the Alabama Theater, another haunted tale begins.
Our ghost here at Sloss Furnaces is named Theophilus Jowers. He was born in rural Alabama in the 1850s.
Theophilus Jowers was real. He worked in furnaces all over Jefferson County.
He loved his work so much and told her that there's nothing that you can do to keep me from working at the furnaces. And as long as there's a furnace in Jefferson County, I'll be there.
Then he fell to his death from the top of a furnace like this one. But his soul, some say, has stayed true to his vow, stayed at a local furnace.
Some of the people that have come through Sloss when it was operating said they could see him in the smoke and the steam rising up from the furnace site.
And finally tonight, Birmingham area Harley motorcycle riders have been bringing sunshine to Children's Hospital for 4 years. Their annual Harley ride has brought happiness, money, and lots of fuzzy, cuddly things to hug for the patients there. The event started 4 years ago with only 5 riders. Now more than 100 Harley owners have joined in on this teddy bear ride. ABC 3340 photojournalist John Thompson takes us along for the ride.
These kids are in the hospital. Every day is the same regimen over and over again. When the bikes come, their faces light up, and it really starts the holiday season off for everyone with a real big bang.
The smile of a child that warms your heart. Somebody who, they can't experience, being able to get on a motorcycle.
They get so excited when the hogs come out to visit, bring us teddy bears. I mean, it just is a bright spot in their day because somebody in the community is thinking about them while they're in the hospital.
Oh, that's great.
Children have a special thing for teddy bears. And just being able to do that brings a little light to their eyes, a little hope. Not to mention that it also brings a little joy to you too, being able to do something special for children.
It was the day that the planes crashed the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, and they tried to go for the White House. I saw people running, and the police, they had the fire trucks down and the ambulance. And I saw a lot of people covered in dust that were like right by it when the plane hit. They were trying to dig people out and try to see if there were any survivors. How sad it was to lose all those people, and how all those kids could lose their that lost their parents in September 11th, and that were in those big towers. If I was that child and I came home looking for my parents and I found out I don't have any parents because I got killed, I'd be like, oh my gosh, who's going to protect me? Who's going to provide for me?
I mean, why did Osama bin Laden want to do this? What did we do to him? It's not like we hurt him. It's evil.
I think they didn't like those two Twin Towers, and I don't think they liked America at all. So they decided to do something about it.
I was just worried, like, what if they decided to come down in Alabama or something? I don't want to be afraid if I was like living next to like the Statue of Liberty or something. It's not like they're just going to crash right into my house.
My dad said, don't worry about it because it's all going to go away, but still remember what happened.
I'm not as sad because it's been a year. I feel safer because I know that the soldiers are looking out for them now, and it's not like it's going to be right out of the blue. They know that they're not going to be unprepared this time.
I know that we're going to be okay and that everything's going to be all right because America stands proud and tall.
Piece of Birmingham Zoo history is moving on. The steam-powered train that traveled across the facility for 4 decades will be replaced this week with a new propane-powered one. NBC 13 photojournalist John Thompson shows us how folks are enjoying the train's last days.
My work has been entirely engineer on this train with the steam locomotive and 4 cars that carry about 96 people. I enjoy working with the people and particularly the children. Most of the children, when they come in the front gate at the zoo, they say, let's go ride the train now and see the zoo later.
What's your favorite part of the zoo?
Riding the train.
Yeah.
I came out with this kindergarten group in first grade, and I rode it myself as a young one.
Won't be the same. It's a real steam train, and I don't know that the one that they're bringing in is a real steam one. It's just the history. It's been here for so long, and knowing my grandfather worked on it for so many years.
I'll sort of be sad because if it doesn't make the kind of noise, they probably won't think it's quite as fun.
This one, everybody's used to it, but in progress, you got to move on and everything, and we're all looking forward to the new one.
The new Birmingham Zoo train will be
In Jesus' name. Praise God. Praise the Lord. All right.
For the last 17 months, 8 to 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, hot or cold, rain or shine, he's out there, holding up a brightly colored sign with a simple message. Meet James Judge III, a walking, talking billboard for the Lord.
Praise God. In Jesus' name. So this is basically what I do. I hold this sign in Jesus' name.
James is married with 4 children, so why would he give up his job as a truck driver and take up the life of a street minister?
I just told the Lord, I said, Lord, I'm tired. I said, I know it's a better way, praise God, and whatever you have me to do in your name, whatever you have me to say in your name, I'll do it. And I gave God a challenge, so God came back with a challenge for me, and he gave it to me.
Some people might think James is eccentric or worse. But when you see people drive by and honk their horns and give him the thumbs up, or you talk to the people who have lunch in downtown Birmingham every day, you get a different opinion.
Well, the workday can get pretty chaotic, and it can get, Christ could be the farthest thing from your mind sometimes when we're at work and during working hours, and I think it's just a nice reminder.
You think what he's doing makes any difference?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it really does. I think he believes it does. It's nice to see somebody stand up for what they believe.
Yeah, I noticed you just brought him lunch.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I offered to buy him lunch. He does something for everybody every day without even realizing how much he affects other people's lives, and I appreciated it, and I just wanted to tell him thanks.
As we travel through life, we see many signs every day. Some are meant to lead us in the right direction. James Judge III believes this is one of them.
Angry neighbors say nearby massage parlors are really houses of prostitution. NBC 13's Kathy Times has been investigating this story for months. She's live now with more. Kathy.
Well, Fran, the NBC 13 investigators get our share of tips about massage parlors in the Roebuck area, and here's why. Take a look at these arrest reports. They have to do with QT Oriental right here behind me. Police made 2 busts last year for prostitution right here, and we went inside with our cameras, with hidden cameras that is, to find out why neighbors want this business gone for good.
Quayla Jemison says guys drive in from other states to visit the massage parlor next door.
They're a nuisance, and the police need to do something about it.
She heard it was a front for prostitution and asked her own husband to go snooping one day.
He went down there, and they, said $160 or whatever, and he came on out because he didn't want no part of that.
Our hidden camera investigation confirms sex is on the menu at 2 massage parlors on Parkway East. They're a block apart. Women dressed in sheer lingerie, or even less, give massages in what they call table showers.
You shower?
We learned that's really a sponge bath. At Time Aroma, the price is $40. Down the street at QT Oriental, prices start at $60. Sex is extra. Men in search of pleasure visit both places throughout the night or during the day while school children cut through their parking lots. Time Aroma is right across the street from a middle school. We sent in NBC 13 employees with hidden cameras, not to have sex, but to get a massage and see if they're solicited for sex.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good.
Stan goes to Time Aroma, pays $40 at the door, and gets an unorthodox massage. Sometimes the masseuse sits between his legs. The executive director of Alabama's massage board says that's against their regulations.
Should she be straddling his back and going between his legs?
No. She should be standing beside him on the floor.
A few days later, we send in Jacob. He tells the greeter he needs to relax.
How long are you gonna stay?
How long? What are my options?
$40 at half an hour, 1 hour, 60.
2 for an hour.
Jacob pays for an hour of therapy. The lights go out, and the woman's hands start to wander.
After working on my back for a little while, she began sliding down and was working on my legs, and she ended up massaging both my buttocks, inner thigh, and then she started touching my private area. She started touching my genitals.
The massage board's executive director says the buttocks, breasts, and genitals are off limits during a massage. Now the touching ends, but the negotiating begins. With gestures and whispers, the masseuse offers Jacob sex for a price. She hushes Jacob, so Jacob makes a 1, a 4, and then a 0 with his hand to repeat her offer. $140 for intercourse. Jacob turns her down. She doesn't give up easily, though. She exposes a breast and makes one more move.
She became very adamant. She like to the point where she grabbed my penis and said, no, I'll make this very quick. I'll make this very quick. Just 40. I'll make this very quick.
We've blurred out the obscene gestures, but it's clear what type of sex act she's proposing with her hands. That's when Jacob leaves. We send in another employee, Bryson, to QT Oriental, a place that's familiar to Birmingham police. Just last August, police arrested 4 employees here on prostitution-related charges. Police closed QT for not having a business license. It opened right back up a week later. It appears they're back to their old ways. A masseuse wearing a tight miniskirt and bikini collects a door charge from Bryson.
60? What? 60.
Okay.
60.
Bryson turns down a table shower and gets ready for a massage.
She massaged me for a little while, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then she asked me what else I wanted. And I asked her, what do you mean by that?
What else is there? What's it?
She doesn't speak English well. She's having some trouble communicating. Eventually, she tries to figure out what he can afford.
How much money do I have?
Bryson asks how much money should he have. Watch closely. The masseuse demonstrates what he can get, but doesn't name a price just yet. Bryson tells her he has $40 left.
At first, she acted like that wouldn't be enough for anything. And then in a few minutes, when she asked me for oral sex, she implied that would be enough.
Bryson doesn't accept that offer. The masseuse makes one last pitch with a hand gesture. The cost? $40. 2 weeks later, the investigators head back to QT with our cameras rolling. We try to talk to the owner. We're greeted by a woman who says her name is Kim.
Are you guys selling sex here? We had an employee come about 2 weeks ago. I'm with NBC 13, and one of the massage therapists offered to have sex with him and ask him how much money he had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just working started yesterday. I don't know about anything.
You've never heard of that before?
No, I just got started yesterday.
You just got started yesterday?
Kim says the owner lives out of town and she's the cleaning lady. She claims it's her second day on the job. Strange because in this video, we see her greeting Bryson 2 weeks earlier. We also pay a visit to Time Aroma.
Is your manager here?
No.
A woman speaking through a door with bars says the manager isn't there. She denies sex is for sale.
Do you guys sell sex here?
No.
We were here last Friday with an employee, and one of the massage therapists offered to have sex with him for $140.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You've never heard that before? People coming here for sex?
No, I don't want to. Please go.
There are several houses behind the QT. Now, neighbors did not want to talk to me on camera about the business, but one lady told me sometimes the action spills out into the parking lot here. She says one night her granddaughter saw a man with his pants pulled down right here in the parking lot, and then there was the couple having sex in a car.
People in the community have called cops and even wrote Birmingham city leaders, asking them to revoke the parlor's business licenses. The same thing happened in Centerpoint a few years ago. Deputies shut down several parlors operating as fronts for prostitution. One reason Centerpoint Residents Incorporated was to regulate adult entertainment. Now the city council refuses to give similar businesses another license. Quayla Jemison wonders when or if Birmingham city government will get tough.
I guess it's legal prostitution. I guess it's what it is, because nobody's done nothing about it.
And as for the clinic, you can look behind me, you can see that it is open right now. The employees are inside getting ready for tomorrow. That's when it is set to officially reopen. It's been 6 days since the bomb blast at the women's clinic. In that short time, construction workers have moved quickly, transforming the building. They're installing new doors and windows and clearing away all the debris. For now, they're keeping this gaping hole where the bomb went off uncovered, but they are planning a memorial for the victims, Officer Sanderson and Emily Lyons. With the bombing behind them, clinic employees are back at work, taking phone calls. They're turning to each other for support.
This facility has always been a family. You know, it's functioned as a family, and they're calling upon those reserves now.
But going back to work is not easy, knowing that two of their friends won't be returning.
I think there's incredible grief and anger on everybody's part about that, yes. And our prayers are still with Emily and her family.
At the site, only a few investigators remain. Come tomorrow, they'll be gone. And so too will these signs and all of the shattered glass. But the memory of the deadly blast is a dark light that will never fade.
NBC 13's Scott Malden was there. He starts off our live team coverage from Murphy, North Carolina tonight. Scott?
Mike, Eric Robert Rudolph is said to be calm, cooperating, and in custody in this building here in Murphy, North Carolina. His capture today came almost by accident, but tonight FBI agents handling the case here say the case is far from over. Eric Robert Rudolph may have been rummaging for food in this grocery store dumpster when authorities arrested him before dawn Saturday. When he was spotted, he ran behind these milk crates, then surrendered, ending a 7-year manhunt.
When I seen the subject, I thought it had an uncanny resemblance to
Eric Robert Rudolph.
FBI agents believe Rudolph had help surviving on the run in the dense Nantahala National Forest. They worry Rudolph's campsite near Murphy, North Carolina could be booby-trapped.
We certainly have that concern, but anything that we do is going to be done very methodically, very carefully. We have bomb techs on the scene. And
those bomb worries come from Rudolph's alleged background. He faces dozens of federal charges for the 1998 abortion clinic bombing in Birmingham, and he's accused of 3 Atlanta bombings, including the 1996 blast at Olympic Park. But it's that Birmingham attack and victim Emily Lyons who first came to the mind of the mayor's wife here.
I thought about Nurse Lyons in Birmingham, Alabama. I know that there were a lot of other bad things that happened as a result of some of the choices that Eric Rudolph made, but there was just something special about her that just really tugged at my heartstrings the entire time. And seeing the devastation physically to her just really made an impact on me.
With relief from the capture, FBI agents now want to know how one of their 10 most wanted survived on the run.
we're going to have to work backwards from where he was last and wherever he's been. And we're just going to methodically go through the whole thing. Obviously, we can't just leave here. He's been somewhere, and we have to go to those places.
Texas residents continue to find debris from the spacecraft. That's where Bill Fitzgerald starts NBC 13's team coverage of the Columbia tragedy. Bill joins us now live from Nacogdoches, Texas. Bill?
Well, Nacogdoches parking lot has become a makeshift ground zero in many ways for residents in this area. Even though some of the debris from the shuttle and even human remains have been found 40 miles to the east, you can see that a single piece of corrugated metal is sort of the focal point of an impromptu memorial here as residents and searching authorities try to grapple with the tragedy from above.
Some friends of ours actually called us and said that a computer panel had landed on their roof.
Saturday's national tragedy began with a terrifying roar for former Birmingham native Lori Greer.
And it just sounded like a roll of thunder. It started out kind of light, and then it got really loud, and it started shaking the house, and then it wouldn't stop.
This is awful. It sounded like an earthquake that woke me up.
24 hours after the space shuttle Columbia disintegrated over eastern Texas, including Nacogdoches, remnants, what some natives consider almost holy relics, are everywhere.
The first regression to try to get an idea of the density pattern across.
Emergency crews trying to solve an excruciating mystery acknowledge collecting all the shuttle debris and human remains will be a long, ongoing struggle.
I think it's an insurmountable task. I don't think we'll find them all at all. There's thousands of pieces, I would say, out there.
On Sunday, residents of Nacogdoches woke up to the reality that for everyone, especially the young, Saturday's tragedy was an unwelcome lesson in life.
We discussed it yesterday, and I wanted Mary Claire, my daughter, to, live through this moment and let her learn, history, and to let her know how important it is for these people to go out and explore the universe for us.
We could make suns and put out flowers and say prayers and stuff for them.
This has become a familiar sight, a storm rolling in to soak the peach orchards of Chilton County. Instead of hurting peach farmers, these springtime showers are producing a record harvest.
Really hasn't affected us other than having working some rain, and it's probably helped a little on the size because we were real dry at that point.
Peach by peach, these Durbin Farms workers hand-pick the fuzzy fruit.
Probably take about 3 or 4 hours to pick this field.
The peaches then roll down a conveyor belt at a processing center to be sorted by shape and size, and then sent to market.
One more year like last year, and a lot of us wasn't rebounded. We'd have been pushing up peach trees.
Last year, these branches were bare. That's because a major cold snap moved in and killed all of the peach blossoms. This year, however, it is a different story. A steady combination of rain, sunshine, and warmer temperatures have helped produce a bumper crop of peaches.
These are tree-ripened peaches that we pick and take direct to the market. So it's one of the better crops we've had in this area in quite some number of years.
But Steve Wilson also knows the dangers of too much rain.
It dilutes the flavor somewhat as you get more water in the ground, and also you have a brown rot problem. You just have to put a fungicide spray on. It gets more expensive.
These daily showers have washed away the disastrous memories of the 1996 season and replaced them with a bumper crop of peaches.
From the air, it's an astounding monument to something.
You ain't never seen nothing like that, had you?
On the ground, it's an astonishing display.
Hubcaps for breakfast, hubcaps for supper, his hubcaps all alive.
Hubcaps, almost 3 million of them.
Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers thick just right through here.
88-year-old Harvey Harry is the king of hubcaps, and he can prove it.
I sent to Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian Foundation, and asked them, could I come a king, you know, and asked them how it come about it. And they said it cost me $150 for the paperwork.
He's a collector of sorts. He's also tallied up 10 wives and 28 children, and after 54 years, nearly 3 million hubcaps.
I don't know what I'll live 54 more years, but anyhow, if I do, I'll still be hanging hubcaps.
Geneva, wife number 10, is about to become hubcap queen number 10.
I like to line dance, and me and my friends came over from Clay County to line dance, and he was up there, and he sent a drink over there, and I told the waitress to tell him I didn't drink and to take it back, and she said, I can't do that, he's the king of hubcaps.
And we're going to have her, crown her in a few weeks. We're having her robe, crown, and everything made now, and going to crown her queen of hubcaps.
He's been trying ever since we've been married to get me to, let him do it, but I just keep putting him off.
In the wheel of life, King Harry is just a little bit off center, just like his hubcaps.
Just keep buying them, and as long as the Lord will let me stay on this earth, to buy them, that's what I'm going to do.
From Talladega, Ike Piggott, ABC 3340.
At the very end of an oak-lined street, alone on some state property in Northport, it sits empty. The old Bryce Psychiatric Hospital. Built in the 1930s, it's now abandoned, forgotten by all but a few. Legend here holds dozens of haunting tales. Even the security guards say darkness brings bizarre stories.
Everybody has that illuminating imagination that people do weird things. Of course, you might think that weird things might go on in this building. I'm pretty sure it does late at night, but I don't go over here.
This haunted hospital holds its secrets behind prison-like windows. Nature seems to hide what the decades left behind. Inside, eerie medical relics in quiet mental wards. This was once a home to the hopeless, where desperate cries echoed for attention.
We know that people died here alone and bereft of any kind of social support.
Anthropology expert Charles Knuckles wonders if the souls of some patients still wander these halls. Many visitors believe they do. Some hear distant voices. Others feel cold spots among these shadows. Even the graffiti left by vandals is said to sometimes disappear. Are they messages from the afterlife about what happened in these isolation cells? Maybe screams from hydrotherapy rooms where mental patients were bathed. Or is it all fiction, only in our imaginations because we've heard what happened here a lifetime ago?
In a case like this, I think probably that guilt has a lot to do with it. Guilt because the mentally ill represent a powerless segment in our society, one that was mistreated and essentially neglected for all the time people lived here.
Whatever you believe, there's no doubting that these walls have seen a lot, from torture in life to maybe haunting in the afterlife, and the story here continues. Once a sad place, now silent, this hospital continues to attract the curious, all of them trespassers, yet for some reason drawn to explore the haunting tales of the old Bryce Hospital.
Here. I'm telling you this because I know exactly what's going on.
You know his face from dozens of movies.
The Hollow Man is going to be out in July, and I have another film, a family film called My Dog Skip, which is coming out soon.
But you don't have to wait until July to see his latest passion.
Got to make a mind.
Kevin Bacon, the musician, is on tour with brother Michael. The two are promoting their latest CD and hope to win over some new listeners at 5 Points.
I think more and more is that there are places that we go and play where people actually know the tunes and they've listened to the last two CDs and they are actually coming, to hear the music. There's a percentage of the audience that's doing that, and that's really exciting. That's a lot of fun.
The Bacon brothers already have 2 CDs and plans to begin work on a 3rd. But with Kevin's acting and Michael's composing, how do they find the time?
I don't think it could get any more difficult in terms of the juggling than it is now. So, and we've made it through this where, we've survived the amount of time with our families and our other careers to keep the band going. So I don't see it ending.
It's not all work and no play. The 2 say they're doing what they love, and for the first time in years, they get to hang out.
Even if you're 10 blocks near each other, he's busy with his life and I'm busy with my life. Sometimes we don't get a chance to spend as much time as we'd like to together. So, now we're kind of forced to.
Kevin is certainly not hurting for movie roles. As for his career as a musician, well, you decide.
They come and go by the busloads, many traveling cross-country as far as California and New York to witness unproven phenomena they call miracles.
I smell the roses. That is one of the miracles that occurred.
Many reported smelling the strong fragrance late morning in this Shelby County meadow when the Blessed Virgin Mary reportedly appeared before Medjugorje visionary Maria Lunetti.
Maria said that Mary smiled and gave her blessing to each of us.
Marilyn Henry took detailed notes of what the visionary said.
Mary had come on a cloud, dressed in her special robes of gold for her feast day. Mary asked us to pray within our families for peace.
They described the moment as special, touching, peaceful, some noticing medals and rosaries change colors.
See, they're sterling silver, but when the apparition took place, they turned bronze, all of the links.
This woman was afraid to travel here until a stranger at church, she says, gave her a sign from God out of the blue.
Took my hand in his, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Go pray to St. Raphael. He'll keep you safe on your trip. Go and thank Jesus." Winked at me and left. And I've never seen the man before in my life.
They come for different reasons, young, old, of many ethnicities, all with one common bond, a love for the Blessed Virgin Mary.
I truly believe that Mary is trying to spread a message for people to improve our world.
Derek Toomey, NBC 13 News at midday.
So how well inspected is your child's school? Our investigation revealed many school systems have plenty of room for improvement.
The dry toner.
For Principal Wendy England, last Wednesday was an eye-opening experience.
Do you need to check every classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So 20 square foot per child? Okay.
This needs to be removed and a surge protector put on it.
Like hundreds of other Alabama schools, records show England Sachs Middle School had not undergone a state fire marshal inspection in years.
You have a small classroom space to work with, and you try to make the most of it. But sometimes it's not the safest.
In fact, our 3-month investigation has revealed England School is not alone. We sent this request for complete inspection records to area superintendents, and not just the ones around Birmingham, but to 44 school districts in our 20-county viewing area. The responses were inconsistent. After spending hours sifting through hundreds of reports and invoices, we found a total of 3/4 of the school districts responded to our request. Half provided various kinds of documentation, but only a fourth sent proof of an annual examination by a certified fire inspector. We showed the results of our inspection record request to State Fire Marshal Ed Polk.
If they were not done, they need to be done. If they were done, we need to have the documentation. So we have to go back and look and see where exactly what the problem is.
But the problem could be the system itself. State law does not require an annual inspection by the State Fire Marshal's office. It states the State Fire Marshal shall do so, quote, upon the complaint in writing of any citizen or whenever he or they shall deem it necessary, end quote. Another regulation regarding school inspections simply says, quote, regular inspections for fire hazards must be conducted by school officials and the dangers removed, end quote. Is that enough? That brings us back to Wendy England School. Like many county school districts in Alabama, there are no full-time fire departments which cover Calhoun County schools, which means in most cases there's no certified local fire authority to conduct regular inspections. So last week, Calhoun County granted our request to let 2 deputy fire marshals give Sachs Middle School the once-over. And Ray Cumbey and Mike Haynes did find fire code violations. Minor infractions included a handful of emergency lights that did not work, and the use of extension cords instead of safer surge protectors. Then came the major violations.
She's got cardboard boxes stacked underneath the stairwells. She's fixing to move them forward.
Haynes says storing combustibles there block an exit if they caught fire. Finally, there was the cafeteria's kitchen hood suppression system, which requires an annual test. Based on this tag, it hadn't been tested since 1998. Haynes says while the school is in pretty good shape compared to others he's inspected, there's no telling how long the violations would go undetected without an annual walkthrough.
You can catch a lot of the things that we caught today before it gets into an issue of costing a lot of money.
And money could be the bottom line. Right now, the State Fire Marshal's office only staffs 24 deputies to cover all of Alabama, most of which handle arson investigations.
As you can understand, there's 67 counties and 4.5 million people. There's a vast state out here. So we can't be everywhere at one time.
But what if Paul could hire more inspectors? We sat down with State Representative Alwyn Thomas. He's the vice chairman of the House Public Safety Committee. Thomas was shocked each school district wasn't equally inspected every year and thinks the state can afford to beef up its inspection ranks.
The money is there. It's just a matter of how we direct our priorities. And certainly this, to me, certainly should rate up there in the priorities.
England says she'd welcome an annual visit by a deputy fire marshal without a second thought.
They are not out to do anything other than to keep your children safe. And while we do have some citations, and I hate that we had citations, at the same time I know that my children are going to be safer because I am going to make those changes that they recommended.
This is my first time doing this. Me and Phil here is teaching me how to break up these dinner rolls pretty good. I wanted to help people on Christmas Day and wanted to spend this day as a day of giving instead of really receiving.
Some people don't have family to go to at Christmas time, and they just feel at home with the Salvation Army. It's a lot of work, but it's good work. And we enjoy serving the people, and I've been doing it for 13 years, and a real joy to work at the Salvation Army, especially around Christmas and Thanksgiving.
It's my first time. It's better to give than to receive. This is just a good feeling to be able to do something, especially during this time of the year, for someone else.
I just want to help people because some people don't have presents.
Without any expectation of getting anything back, although you're going to be filled with love and joy, because they're going to be very, very appreciative.
As you can see behind me, the water has receded for the most part, but this parking lot here, as you can see, it looks pretty dry right now, but this morning it was covered in water. Let's go ahead and take a look. This is what this apartment complex looked like at the peak of the flooding. As you can see, the water lines on the building, they reached about 4 feet. That's just evidence of how high the floodwaters rose. The floodwaters in some areas were so high they covered cars in the parking lot. They also caused the cars to shift. They even moved the garbage dumpster all the way across the parking lot. For many people inside the apartments this morning, the floodwaters rose so high that it made it nearly impossible to escape. Rescue crews with the Homewood Fire Department had to bring out boats to help rescue these people. Some residents I spoke to today say this scene this morning was unbelievable.
We saw other people with babies, putting them in car seats and trying to get out, you know, climbing out windows over here, and it was nuts.
The cattle at Bearden Farms is weathering the drought.
It has to be probably above 90 degrees for it to, they cut down on eating, and then they will drop back seriously in production.
Joel Bearden's cows still got milk. And by the tankfuls. Where Bearden's business starts to run dry is out here in the fields. Everywhere you see brown, you should see healthy green stalks of corn. 90% of the 200-acre feed crop gone.
That's about 25% of our total feed supply is what we produce. And then, of course, we've already got the cost in it. We've paid for the seed, we've plowed it up, we've nitrated it, we've fertilized the fields.
A loss of a few $100,000.
You know, there is a stream.
But Bearden still keeps an eye out for rain clouds. The need for rain obvious as a tractor stirs up dust, preparing the fields for a late test crop, a type of corn that can grow during droughts.
If it gets the proper rain, it could make me wish I had planted all of it over again.
Derek Toomey, NBC 13 News at 10.